Before the apocalypse swallowed the highways, before gasoline became gold, there was one machine that refused to die. Born in 1973 as a Ford Falcon XB GT, reborn in fire as the Pursuit Special, and remembered by every roar that echoed through the wasteland. To some, it was just a movie car. To others, it was prophecy on wheels, the last of the V8 Interceptors. Tonight on PulseVidX, we rip open the rusted panels of legend to uncover 20 weird facts about Max's 1973 V8 Interceptor. Because this isn't just a car story, it's a survival story forged in metal, madness, and myth. Fact 20. A car that wasn't meant for Hollywood before the cameras rolled, this machine was just another Aussie muscle car. The 1973 Ford Falcon XB GT Coupe, a bruiser born on the streets of Melbourne, was never supposed to be a Hollywood icon. Director George Miller and art designer John Dowding scoured scrapyards looking for something mean, cheap, and real. They didn't want beauty, they wanted menace. When they found the Falcon GT with its long shark-nose front and fat rear haunches, they knew. Dowding added a custom Concorde front, that aggressive snout, and black paint so deep it swallowed sunlight. Miller took one look and said, "That's not a car, that's a weapon." The Interceptor wasn't built for Hollywood. Hollywood was rebuilt around it. Fact 19. The blower of deception. That monstrous supercharger bursting through the hood? Every fan thought it was real. Every kid dreamed of flipping that switch. But it was all smoke and cinema. The blower was a hollow shell mounted to a 351 cubic inch Cleveland V8. A small electric clutch spun the belt only when the switch was hit, creating the illusion that the beast had just been unleashed. No real boost, no extra horsepower, just genius illusion. Yet the sound and look of that fake supercharger changed movie car design forever. Fans still argue online about whether it was functional, proof that sometimes the best horsepower is imagination. Fact 18. The engine that never was listened closely to the Interceptor's growl. That deep mechanical thunder, the shriek when Max floors it. It's not the Falcon's engine. Sound designer Roger Savage mixed the voices of a Formula One V8, a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, and an idling jet turbine to craft the ultimate Franken engine roar. Every rev in Mad Max was sculpted to sound unstable, as if the car itself were on the edge of insanity, just like its driver. George Miller once said, "We didn't want the Interceptor to sound fast, we wanted it to sound angry." It became one of the earliest examples of sound design as character, turning steel and noise into emotion.
The toe cutter! He knows who I am!
Fact 17. From law to legend. Before it prowled the wasteland, the Interceptor wore the colors of the law. In the early scenes, it's a main force patrol pursuit car. It's bright yellow, blue, and red, chasing chaos across the outback. But when civilization collapses, that badge of order means nothing. Miller wanted Max's transformation mirrored in metal. So, Dowding stripped the car bare, repainted it jet black, removed the lights, and left only the fangs. The result was chilling. A former police interceptor turned highway demon. It symbolized Australia's fall from order into anarchy, and Max's descent from hero to haunted drifter. The man and the machine became one shadow. Fact 16. Too fast for the film crew. Even without a working blower, the Falcon XB GT was terrifying. Its 351 V8 pushed over 300 horsepower, plenty for a movie shot on open roads with almost no safety rules. The stunt team drove the Interceptor through rough dirt tracks, abandoned highways, and real traffic at breakneck speeds. There were no roll cages, no CGI, and no second takes. One stuntman later admitted, "You didn't drive the Interceptor, you survived it." During one chase, the car hit a pothole at over 100 miles per hour. The entire crew froze, thinking they'd lost both car and driver. But the Interceptor roared back to life, its battered body now scarred like the world it ruled. That raw power, half mechanical, half madness, made it feel less like a prop and more like a predator. Number 15. Dummy side pipes. Those menacing chrome side pipes running along the Interceptor's flanks, the ones that looked like they could melt asphalt, are mostly for show. In reality, the actual exhaust system ran underneath the car, just like any regular street machine. The side pipes were what you might call apocalypse jewelry. Pure intimidation, no real function. Sure, they might have been connected to the exhaust system for a little extra sound, but they weren't the main route for gases leaving that big Cleveland V8. Think of them as a visual weapon, glinting chrome cannons that scream danger before the engine even starts. There was one unexpected advantage, though. During filming, the pipes acted as sacrificial armor. When the car scraped against barriers or other vehicles during stunts, the pipes absorbed most of the damage. The Falcon's body panels, which were rare and almost impossible to replace, stayed safe. Some replica builders today take the idea a step further, making those side pipes fully functional, producing deafening roars and dangerously hot metal. It looks great on camera, but touch them after a drive, and you'll be meeting the wasteland's first-degree burn unit. Number 14. Built on a shoestring. The Interceptor might look like a $1 million Hollywood creation, but it was born from junkyards and desperation. The original Mad Max was shot on a shoestring budget, about $350,000 Australian dollars total. That's less than what big studios spend on catering. The production team scavenged whatever they could. Spare parts came from wrecking yards. Components were reshaped, repurposed, and sometimes literally welded together in backyards. The car's nose cone, handmade aluminum. The roll cage, bent from standard steel tubing. Even the supercharger setup, that massive chrome blower, cost less than a real one would have. George Miller's crew stretched every dollar until it screamed. They weren't chasing perfection. They were chasing personality. When Miller saw the finished car, he knew it looked like it had history. A vehicle built from necessity, not luxury. That texture, that roughness, made it believable. Ironically, the car built with scraps became one of the most influential machines in movie history. Sometimes a little budget pressure is the best kind of creativity. Number 13. A bribe on wheels. In the film story, the Interceptor isn't just a transportation, it's temptation. The main Force Patrol brass offers it to Max as a way to keep him from quitting. It's not money, not promotion. A car. But not just any car, the last of the V8 Interceptors. Psychologically, it's brilliant. Max's world is decaying. His partner is dead. He's one step away from walking away, and then they roll out this black monster. A machine so powerful, so primal, it speaks directly to the part of him that still believes in control. The presentation feels ceremonial, almost sacred, like a knight being given his sword before battle. Fifi, the commanding officer, doesn't just show Max a vehicle, he's showing him a weapon, a beast only someone like Max could handle. That one decision ties Max to the machine, and it defines his fate. The car becomes a symbol of loyalty, then vengeance, then obsession. And when it's destroyed later, it's not just a car dying, it's a piece of Max's soul. Number 12. One car became two. When production began on Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, there was a serious problem. They needed to destroy the Interceptor, but also needed it intact for other scenes. So the team did what any good filmmaker would. They built another. The original hero car from Mad Max returned, beaten and weathered, showing the passage of time. But a second car, the stunt double, that was constructed to take the abuse. It wasn't a perfect copy, but it was close enough for the chaos. The hero car was used for close-ups, dialogue scenes, and those cinematic slow drives across the wasteland. The stunt car? That was for everything dangerous, crashes, rolls, explosions. And the Road Warrior delivered plenty of those. It was a smart move. The dual-car strategy let them film destruction without losing the original too early. And that technique, the idea of having hero and stunt twins, became standard practice in Hollywood. Today, major films build half a dozen duplicates. But back then, 2 cars was a luxury. Number 11. Nearly scrapped between films. Here's a piece of movie history that almost never made it to The Road Warrior. Between the 2 films, the original Interceptor was nearly junked. After the first movie wrapped, no one thought they'd need it again. It was battered, dented, and dirty. And Mad Max hadn't yet become a global phenomenon. For months, the car sat abandoned in a yard outside Melbourne. Faded paint, flat tires, missing trim, a once mighty beast left to rot. Someone even suggested stripping it for parts. Imagine that. The most famous Australian movie car in history turned into scrap metal. But fate intervened. When Mad Max exploded internationally, the studio realized what they had. The production team tracked the car down and brought it back. Instead of restoring it to perfection, they leaned into the damage. They let it look like it had survived the apocalypse, because in a way, it had. Every dent, every rust patch became part of its story. The reborn Interceptor reappeared in The Road Warrior like a ghost from the first film. Scarred, aged, and angry. It was no longer a shiny bribe on wheels, it was a survivor. And that's the evolution of a legend. From decorative side pipes to junkyard rebirth. The Interceptor wasn't just a car. It was a living metaphor for Max himself. Beaten, rebuilt, and somehow still running. But the story doesn't end here. The next 5 facts reveal how this machine went from a broken prop to a museum-worthy artifact, restored, resurrected, and reborn for an entirely new generation of fans. Number 10. The booby-trapped fuel tank. In the wasteland, trust is extinct, and so are second chances. That's why Max's Interceptor wasn't just fast, it was armed. In Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, the Interceptor's fuel tanks are rigged with explosives. Anyone trying to siphon its precious gasoline would be in for a fiery surprise. The booby trap wasn't just a clever prop. It symbolized survival through paranoia. Max had learned that in this world, everyone wants what you have, and the only way to keep it is to make them afraid to touch it. The mechanism was real, at least in appearance. A small detonator mock-up wired to the tanks made it look functional. George Miller's team even used a tiny explosive charge for the close-up when it finally detonates. Practical effects, no CGI, just danger done right. It's one of cinema's most brutal metaphors. A machine so desperate to survive, it's willing to destroy itself first. The Interceptor's final explosion isn't just metal and gasoline, it's Max's trust evaporating in flame. Number 9. A sound like no other. The Interceptor's roar wasn't purely mechanical. That ungodly snarl, the deep, almost demonic rumble, was created by blending multiple sounds together. The film's audio engineers layered the real Ford V8 with recordings of jet engines, motorcycles, and even a lion's growl pitched down for extra menace. The result? A car that didn't sound like it belonged to this world. It sounded angry, like a living creature cornered and ready to strike. In a time before digital mixing, all of this was done manually. Spliced tape, rewound reels, trial and error. It gave the sound a natural distortion, the kind of imperfection that modern editing can't quite replicate. To this day, hardcore car enthusiasts can recognize that growl in a split second. It's not just a sound effect, it's a voice. And like Max, it doesn't ask for mercy. Number 8. A star that outshined its actor. When Mad Max first hit theaters, the film was supposed to launch Mel Gibson's career, and it did. But in Australia, the Falcon Interceptor became the real celebrity. Car magazines ran features not on Gibson, but on the car itself. Fans started calling junkyards, hunting for XB GT Falcons to build their own replicas. It sparked a national obsession, a wave of custom builders who turned everyday coupes into black-on-black monsters. By the time The Road Warrior was released, people cheered when the car appeared on screen. The audience didn't need dialogue. That low, idle rumble said everything. The Interceptor had become its own character. Silent, mysterious, unstoppable. Even Mel Gibson admitted in interviews that the car stole the spotlight. "You can't compete with it," he laughed. "When that thing's on camera, you just get out of the way." Few movie props ever achieved that. The Batmobile did. So did the DeLorean. But the Interceptor, it didn't just steal scenes, it owned the apocalypse. Number 7. Real gasoline. Real danger. Filming The Road Warrior wasn't Hollywood glamour. It was raw chaos. The crew worked in 100-degree heat on dusty plains, with explosions, stunts, and real gasoline everywhere. The Interceptor's twin tanks were filled for realism, not safety. There were moments when the car came dangerously close to disaster. During one chase, a spark from a crash nearly ignited a spill beneath the Interceptor's rear wheels. The stunt driver bailed out seconds before the crew rushed in with extinguishers. No one was seriously hurt, but that moment shook everyone. From then on, the Interceptor was treated like a loaded weapon. Beautiful, powerful, but deadly if mishandled. That's part of what made the action so believable. The danger wasn't staged. It was real people, real machines, real risk. And it shows on screen. When you watch the car fishtail through fire, your pulse races because some part of your brain knows this actually happened. Number 6. Lost, Found, and Resurrected. After the Road Warrior, the Interceptor was presumed destroyed. In the story, it was blown apart, a flaming wreck left in the wasteland, but in real life, it survived. The stunt car that took the hit was nearly unrecognizable. Twisted frame, shattered glass, and a nose cone barely holding together. It was abandoned on a studio lot, forgotten for years. Fans thought it was gone forever. Then, in the early 1990s, a miracle. A collector named Bob Fursenko discovered what was left of it rotting behind a workshop in Shepparton, Australia. He verified the chassis numbers, confirmed the frame structure. It was the real Road Warrior Interceptor. Painstakingly, he restored it, not to a shiny, perfect show car, but to the exact battered state it appeared in on screen. The broken blower, the scorched paint, the cracked windshield. He understood what made the Interceptor special: imperfection. That same car now sits preserved in the Mad Max Museum in Silverton, Australia, scarred, silent, but still defiant. Visitors describe a strange feeling when they see it, like standing before a war survivor. You can almost hear the idle, smell the dust, feel the heat. It's not just a movie prop. It's a relic of a time when filmmaking was dangerous, honest, and real. The Interceptor lived through it all, and somehow, it's still here. The Interceptor story only grows darker from here. The final stretch reveals how the myth evolved, from scrapyard salvage to Hollywood legend, reborn decades later in Mad Max: Fury Road. The next 5 facts uncover the rebirth of the beast, how a new generation re-engineered the legend, and how one forgotten prop became the heartbeat of an entire franchise. Number 5. The resurrection of the Pursuit Special. Decades after the dust settled, the Interceptor rose again, not in a scrapyard, but in a Hollywood revival. When George Miller announced Mad Max: Fury Road, fans wondered if the legendary car would return. The answer was yes and no. The new Interceptor wasn't the same vehicle that haunted the Road Warrior. It was a rebirth, redesigned, reforged, and meaner than ever. Miller wanted it to feel like the old beast had survived the wasteland and evolved into something even more savage. Production designer Colin Gibson led the resurrection. He and his crew studied every frame of the original films, recreating the Falcon's silhouette piece by piece. They sourced real XB GT shells from around Australia, many already rusted, dented, and ready for apocalypse duty. The new cars were built on bare steel frames with custom roll cages, stunt suspension, and functional engines. Even the fake blower setup from the 1970s was now operational. This time, the roar was real. But Miller's vision wasn't about nostalgia, it was about continuity. He said, "The Interceptor is Max's shadow. Wherever Max goes, it follows, until it dies again." That idea shaped every shot in Fury Road. When Max loses the car early in the movie, it's symbolic. His soul stripped away once more, forcing him to survive on instinct. And when the car reappears later, twisted and weaponized by the war boys, it's like seeing his own past turned against him. It wasn't just a car, it was memory, it was trauma rolling on 4 wheels. Number 4. Built, destroyed, rebuilt. Over and over. During Fury Road's production, the Interceptor was built more than 10 times. Each version served a different purpose: hero car, stunt car, crash car, even fire car. Some had working blowers, others were lightened for jumps and high-speed scenes. And yes, several were completely destroyed. In one stunt, a war boy rams the Interceptor into a cliff. That car was obliterated on impact. No CGI, no tricks. The team actually sacrificed it for authenticity, but Miller's crew expected it. They built these cars like soldiers going into battle. Each one had its destiny written in the script. The hero version survived the longest, polished, menacing, and loaded with detail down to the rivets on the supercharger mount. After filming, only a handful remained. One went to Warner Bros. Archives, one to the Fury Road production base in Namibia, and another was displayed at events as part of the film's legacy tour. It's poetic, a car that keeps dying and coming back, just like its driver. Each rebuild carries scars of the last. The Interceptor doesn't evolve through upgrades. It evolves through damage. Number 3. Hidden symbolism in the paint. To the untrained eye, the Interceptor is just matte black. But that blackness was carefully chosen, and it's not truly black at all. The original color used on the Mad Max Pursuit Special was V8 black, a deep midnight tone mixed with dark blue and gray pigments. It wasn't shiny, it wasn't glossy. It absorbed light, just like the wasteland itself. In Fury Road, the production team aged the color even further. They mixed dust directly into the paint so that the finish looked permanently sunblasted. Up close, you can see layers of dirt baked into the body. An intentional choice to make the car look like it had lived through decades of decay. The color symbolized Max's mental state. After years of loss and isolation, there's no reflection left in him. Nothing bright, nothing hopeful. Just darkness that swallows everything it touches. That's why George Miller refused to paint it differently for the reboot. He told the art team, "Max's car isn't beautiful, it's burdened." Number 2, a cult that worships steel. By the time Fury Road released, the Interceptor had transcended cinema. It had become a religion among gearheads and film fans alike. Clubs around the world formed solely to recreate and celebrate the Pursuit Special. Builders from Japan to Germany, from the US to Australia, dedicate years, even decades, crafting exact replicas using real Falcon shells. Some wear Max's jacket to car meets. Others show up in full wasteland costumes, complete with the dog, the sawed-off shotgun, and the blower switch. For them, it's not cosplay, it's reverence. There are full-blown conventions in Australia where hundreds of these cars gather, all idling together. A thunderous symphony of V8s paying tribute to a fictional future. The Interceptor is no longer a prop, it's a myth on wheels. Collectors now pay 6 figures for authentic parts. Original Falcon panels, blower replicas, even old Interceptor blueprints sell like sacred relics. It's automotive mythology, fans preserving not just metal, but meaning. And that meaning is clear. The Interceptor represents resistance, the will to keep moving when the world falls apart. Number 1, a machine that outlived its creator. George Miller never set out to build an icon. He just needed a fast car for a low-budget movie about civilization collapsing. But 40 years later, the Interceptor outlived every expectation, and nearly every person who worked on it. Many of the original crew members from the 1979 film have since passed away. Yet their creation still roars across screens, still commands awe at museums, still inspires new generations of filmmakers. It's been rebuilt, reinterpreted, and immortalized, not through digital effects, but through grease, fire, and obsession. Each new version of Mad Max begins and ends with one question: will the Interceptor return? That question isn't just about the car, Al. It's about humanity's need for symbols. In a story where everything burns, the Interceptor is proof that something endures. It's the last echo of civilization, the ghost of speed, freedom, and vengeance that refuses to die. When its V8 growls, the wasteland listens. When the blower whines, the sky seems to tremble. And when Max climbs behind the wheel, time itself pauses. Because somewhere deep down, we all believe that as long as the Interceptor exists, there's still a chance to outrun the end of the world. The road never ends. Only the drivers do. And somewhere in that wasteland, a black V8 still roars. This was PulseVidX, and thanks for riding with us. See you on the next run down Fury Road.